Today, we are going to be discussing staying mentally healthy during the festive period. And between Dr. Toun and I, we agreed that this is a very relevant topic to talk about. But before we go into the meat of that discussion, I'd like to ask Dr. Toun, what was it like growing up? What was growing up like during festive period for you as a child?
So first of all, Dr. Toun, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate the similarity in our thought processes, and really appreciate God for the opportunity for bringing us together.
Yeah.
So growing up I was born and raised in Nigeria, and just went to and relocated to America maybe about 15 years ago. But in Nigeria, it was fun, having family members come around. Like I said, my sister is here, so I hope she's able to remember some memories, some good memories. But it's just being able to come back home. So you have siblings, and fifth of 6 children, and we'll have all the siblings come home together. So those in high school, those in college, those abroad, whatever it was, we would come home and celebrate together. And that was fun, with parents. It was just a precious time where we got to connect. We got to just catch up. And then at times we'd have cousins. If you go to should I say, the local government or village where you're from, we did that when we were much younger. And it was fun just connecting with cousins. So what I remember was it was a time of love, a time of happiness, a time of joy, a time of connection. And, whether you get gifts for this person, you share gifts, parents will get you new clothes.
Yeah.
That season.
Yeah, I remember that.
For us, you will get, so for us, you will get a pair of English wear and a traditional outfit. So one would be for Christmas, one would be for the New Year's of Thanksgiving. So it was a good time of just singing and playing, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then coming to America, kind of a little bit different. So,
but of course you came to America as an adult.
I came as an adult, as a young adult. So coming a little bit different, still you go to the church, you go to church, you sing, but maybe not all of that. And now, you have siblings all over the world. You cannot just go home all the time. So, it's you and your cousins, great cousins, relatives that, are very supportive, or classmates due to medical school. So it just depends on what is going on. But it's different now, and and right now, even having my family, you have to create it. You have to be intentional, for the kids, for family. How can you recreate the positive memories?
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Absolutely. So if we look at it from the perspective of a child, it was always about the fun, the joy, the happiness, the getting of gifts, and the sharing of good times with siblings, with cousins and friends who might visit.
Yeah.
So it will seem like from the eyes of a child, it's often something to look forward to. Right. Now, is the feeling the same as an adult, as a wife, a parent? Is the feeling the same for you?
Absolutely not. It's different, because as an adult right now, as an adult, even before having a family, it's different, because you have to now choose now you're responsible.
Right.
So the responsibility is mine. And then having a family as a wife and a mother, now I'm more intentional. I'm trying to recreate, I'm trying to create good memories for them. Because just like the way I'm saying mine right now, hopefully they'll be able to say theirs and laugh and be happy.
Yeah.
But it's totally different. And, the responsibility has changed. So you are right. It's now up to me to determine how I want it to be. But the temptation is, the joy of the season can be easily rubbed off because you're just like, it's been how many years right now on earth? It's the same thing. Jesus died, it's about love. So there's just that you need to be very intentional,
Right.
to be able to renew that joy of the season.
Right. So let's be a bit more vulnerable. Now that you are a wife and a parent, and of course you're still a daughter to your parents and siblings, and a sister to your siblings, would you say that as the festive period approaches, you look forward to it with the same level of excitement, considering you've described the fact that it comes with a lot of responsibility, being intentional about creating memorable experiences for your children? Would you say that you look forward to it with the same excitement year after year? Or it has become more of, oh my goodness, Christmas is coming again. What am I going to buy? What am I going to give?
I like what one of my high school friends is here, Chika. Thank you for joining. Ogumeri. She said it. Excitement with a dash of stress. I think that's what it is. So growing up, like you said, it was somebody else's responsibility. It was fun. I did, just enjoyed whatever it was. But now it's my responsibility. And responsibility can be challenging, but it can also be fun, depending on what you make it to be. So for me, definitely, it's different. But I've been more mindful about the time. So whether I'm taking, I'm taking some time out to rest. It's also the end of the year. So I use that to rest from all the activities. So I'm more mindful. Over time, I've found a way to make it lovely in that sense, where it's not just stress and stress, but no, just enjoy it, what be it taking pictures with Santa, whatever it is, just being intentional about it, be it getting them gifts that is relevant. They are quite young, so they may not remember all of it.
Right.
But whatever it is, I'm being mindful. That's what I'm doing. So that it's not just emotion. I don't want to just get through it and be like, what did we do last year? No. I'm trying to be more thoughtful, intentional, mindful, and above all, enjoy the moment. Because it's not just for them. I'm also enjoying it. What was Christmas 2022? I want to be able to remember with smiles, not, it's gone. I don't know. It was just for you. No. So I'm also making it count for me.
Wow.
As I celebrate.
Right. So you've just talked about the fact that while you're trying to be intentional about creating memorable experiences for your children, you are also mindful of yourself and make sure that it's also a time to rest and to enjoy the season as an individual,
Right.
not just about a lot of preparation and feeling responsible towards family alone. I get that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
but there's this other thing that I was thinking we need to talk about. We all agree because of the need to give. I mean, we as Christians, we understand that the Christmas for Christians is about the love of God, and embedded in that love is giving. And to be honest, it can be financially stressful. It can be a financially stressful period. Do you think that in the spirit of love and giving, the financial demands of Christmas or the financial sense of responsibility that people feel during the season, is it worth it?
So that's a relevant question, because there is this, how do you balance? Christmas, like you rightly said, is about giving, because we're celebrating the gift of God to us, to mankind. So it's about showing love. But at times, when we make it about money or gift alone, we may lose the sense. It's giving. Giving can be time, giving can be energy, giving can be advice,
Yeah, right.
giving can be so prayers, giving can be so many things. But above all, is also setting the boundaries.
Right.
This is how much. So whether it's even time, this is how much I want to be spread thing. This is how much I want to give. And you need to be able to. So for me, I'm like I said, it's a restful time and a mindful time. So I also set boundaries because otherwise I'm going to be overly stretched. And then when I'm done with the break, I need another break, which usually happens. So then it's pointless. So there's a need to set boundaries where you're expressing love. Is the thought process. Above all, it's not the amount, it's a heart posture.
Yeah.
When God gave us, he gave us his all, but it was just the heart of love of the Father.
Right.
So that's what we need to have. The heart of love is not so much about what is in your hand, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
So if it's not money, hey, I don't have money right now. Can I give you this? It could even be an old something. What else can I give you? And remember, it shouldn't be one-sided giving. Some people just like to give and give and give and take. Sorry, some people like to take and take without giving. It's reciprocal. Though we're not giving in order to have back. No, that's not the point. Remember, it's just a show of heart. So to specifically answer your question, it can be daunting. It can be overwhelming because of expectation of people. And so that's where you need to set and manage that expectation. People can have expectation, but what is the expectation of yourself? That's what I do. I sit down, whatever it is, family, children, husband, myself, friends, those that I don't know, volunteering, orphanage, whatever it is. I need to be able to set that expectation and know what I'm dealing with. Plan ahead. Otherwise, you are going to fail and then feel under pressure. Remember, giving should never it should never be under pressure.
Right.
The Bible says we should give out of, it should be a cheerful heart, not out of compulsion, not out of obligation. So whatever it is, if you cannot release it, then don't give it. It's your heart first, so that is what is rewarded, not so much the culture or the expectation or the obligation. Oh, this is what they expect of me. No, don't go by expectation because you could die. Don't. And disappointment, or there's no disappointment without your consent. So no, do not go for expectation. That's what I don't do. I sit down, I settle down to discuss with my husband what are we doing for my family, for his family, for our friend, whatever it is, so that we are not giving and then at the end of the day we are exhausted or burnt out.
Exactly.
So we don't want to be burnt out for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the things around the festive period that can negatively impact on our mental health?
So mental health, I like to remind everybody what it is before we then talk about what could impact it.
Yeah.
So mental health, as defined by World Health Organization, is a state of well-being that enables you to be able to cope with normal stress or stresses of life, able to regulate your emotions, able to learn, and ultimately contribute to the society.
Right.
So that has, you being aware, it has self-awareness of what you have and what you don't have. It has coping skills of the strength you will need and the support system, and it has productivity where you are able to contribute beyond yourself. So some people, at times we forget that because we get stuck in one. Mental health should go beyond you. But you first, because you cannot give what you don't have. Your cup needs to be full. You should have something in your cup. Or else you're just going to be drained from empty. You're going to frustrate the person you're giving and frustrate yourself. So, and as they say on the plane, wear your mask first before helping the other people. Because you only have 15 seconds before you go, or maybe, 40 seconds before you go dizzy. So you can't even help your child if you don't wear your mask. Okay, so and now we can then talk about the challenges and the barriers. So if any of those 4 aspects is not being met, we need to step back. That could be a barrier. So if you yourself are not regulating and you're not able to cope with the stress of your own life, how would you be able to help other people? It doesn't mean your life needs to be perfect. There's no perfect life
No.
anywhere. It's only in heaven. As I say, perfection is when we join the clouds of witnesses in heaven.
Yeah.
There's no perfection on earth. Once you're perfect, it's time to go home. So, but as long as you're on this earth, there's no perfection.
Yeah.
So I share that to say, are you stable enough for yourself? Are you able to handle normal stress? Stress is part of life. Some people are like, oh, no, stress is part of life, but we're all different in our capacities. We're all different in our resilience.
Yeah.
And so we don't compare. So I can start there. We don't compare or compete. Oh no, no. It's not a It's not a race.
No.
It's a personal race.
Yeah.
So you're not comparing that person did it. She lost her mom last week and went back to work, and so I should do the same. No. It's not a comparison. You look inwards, what is your own strength? So that's the first thing, to be able to cope with normal stress. So anything that is short of that, try to work on that first. Because if you pour from that, you're pouring from emptiness. You're pouring from pain. You're pouring from bitterness. And you are going to hurt other people unintentionally.
Right.
Even though you meant well, the outcome is going to be awful. That's one. Two, if you're going to help, try to help, like I said, intentionally. This is what I'm doing. Don't be caught off guard. No. Be intentional. This is what I'm doing for this long. If you're caught off guard, you are going to be frustrated, because then you start feeling like the person owes you. You're going to feel entitled to the person's life. You're going to want to manipulate the person. After all I did for you, excuse you, you did it by yourself, by choice. So understand that it's not for the person to repay you. Whatever you sow, you will reap does not mean it has to be the same place where you sowed by the same person. God is a rewarder of those that do good. It will come back to you. So it doesn't have to be that person.
Yeah.
So understanding is not competition. Understanding, no manipulation and entitlement will be helpful. The other thing is, are you able to learn? Are you getting support? Do you have your coping skills? Assess what you have. And if you don't have enough, get what it is. Outsource whatever is needed. Whether it's baby care, whether it's laundry person, whether it's, chauffeur, or whoever. Outsource, learn, and ensure your strength. Maximize your strength. So anything that is short of that, you should work on that. Self-awareness. That's that. Then the other thing is the piece of being able to contribute to the society. Are you able to? At times you don't have a job, and then there's this pressure. You don't have a job, or you don't have enough. Maybe it's just you're living from paycheck to paycheck. And then there's this demand. Like I said, it's the heart that counts, not so much the amount. At times we focus on the amount.
Yeah.
Without the heart, it's just an obligation. Without the heart, it's just wastage. So I would encourage you, it's not, you can go to a dollar store here, it's little, but your gratitude in what you have makes it much. So again, I'm adding gratitude to it.
Yeah.
Don't focus on what you lack. A lot of people right now are just like, oh, what you started with in the beginning of the year is not what you're ending with, or this is not where I thought I would be. There's a lot of discouragement. There's a lot of regret. There's a lot of just despair. So what? What is the next step? The goals I set, I'm not even close. Why not focus on what you achieved? Why not focus on what you have? Gratitude, your heart, your joy, your cheerfulness would actually make that much. So to contribute, fill your cup first. I think that's the summary. Anything that is a barrier to filling your cup a little bit would be a problem. You will give out of pain. And you don't want to add to people's pain.
No.
You want to relieve it or reduce it. If at all, let it be. Leave it the same level. If you can't reduce the pain, don't make it worse. So have your own support system. We all need one, because we're not meant to go through this life alone. Can you be the champion for somebody else? Can you be the source of smile for somebody else? But you can't be the source of smile for somebody else if you yourself don't know what smiling is. Think about that.
Wow, wow, wow. That's a whole webinar on its own, going through the pillars of mental health and our role as individuals in ensuring our personal mental well-being. Um, so now that you have been able to, first of all, enlighten our viewers about the pillars of mental health, I'd like us to again look at that. What is it about the festive period that can negatively impact on our mental health if we are not
The
careful?
pressure, like I said about the competition, there's the pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure to meet up, the pressure to be valued, the pressures to be accepted, the pressure to be appreciated, the pressure to be seen, the pressure to measure up, the pressure, I can keep going on. There's a lot of pressure, just pressure to be, the pressure to be a mother, to be a wife, to be a friend, to be a sister, to be a daughter, to even be alive. Pressure. There's that pressure to be somebody, someone, something, the meaning.
Yeah.
We all want meaning. And we need to be able to understand that pressure. So that's what I've said about the pressure that can lead to competition.
Yeah.
The pressure can lead to comparison. And we know comparison and competition. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Sure.
You can't keep comparing. I mean, if you make a human being your standard, you will not go above them.
Yeah.
You will not go above them. You will not rise above them. Yeah. So it's very key to understand that you're not in competition with anybody.
Yeah.
You're not in competition with anybody but yourself. You want today to be better than yesterday, not competing with somebody. It's Tiwa against Tiwa, not Tiwa against anybody else. Because I really don't understand other people. It's just me and God. So that pressure. So that's one thing. The other thing is maybe the pressure to also maintain your lifestyle. So if last year, for yourself, this is what we did, and this year, maybe somebody has lost a job, or maybe the finances are not really there, or now the person is working 2-3 jobs to maintain. Remember, I said giving is not just about money.
Yeah.
Because we focus on that a lot.
Yeah.
So giving is about, it could be your time, because it's precious. Time is money.
Yeah.
So now maybe you are needing to work 2 jobs in order to meet up the demand. And that can be a lot of pressure too.
Sure.
So it could be the man, it could be the wife, it could be the kid, it could just measure up. Again, look inwards. That's what I would say. It's your own strength that you can pass along with intention. Again, to battle pressure, manage expectation, set boundaries, be aware of what you have. Because you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly.
Be aware, set boundaries, be grateful, and make it much. So you set the pressure. The other pressure could be, which is the family members are coming.
Yeah.
The abuser may be around. For a kid, several times, some of my clients and patients is that uncle that sponsors the parents, sponsors the children that comes around. And that's the abuser that he or she cannot talk about. So while there may be a good pressure, there may be a bad pressure of now I have to see my cousin that did this to me, or I have to see my parents. At times it's very challenging. There are relationships, parents and children, that is not the best.
Right.
So how do you manage that? So there's the negative pressure to be, what you should do this, you should do that. So there's that negative pressure, even for a spouse. There's an abusive spouse, an abusive child. A child too can be abusive to a parent. A sibling can be abusive. So the question, there's a lot of, and then the anniversaries. Somebody died 10 years ago. Oh, I wish my mom was here. I wish my dad was here.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. I was talking about my childhood, but some people, You know, somebody even said, my friend said, single people, there's that pressure.
Yeah.
You are not yet married. What are you doing? Is another year. Or you don't have a child. Or you don't have a job.
Yeah.
So at times, festive period can be a reminder of what you don't yet have.
Exactly.
Remember, yet is the word. It doesn't mean forever. But that pressure of families, everybody putting it in your face, even though it's not intentional, it can get to you.
Yeah.
Like, I wish this. So there could be negative pressure reminding you of, oh wow, my mom, you know, or that daughter, or a miscarriage. You know, if that child was alive now, that child would have been born today. Or a child that died, or even diagnosis. Last year, you know, I got a diagnosis of whatever. You know, it could be grief. So at times we may be grieving. It could be an anniversary of grief. And grief is not just death
Yeah.
of human being. Grief is death of an expectation that didn't go too well.
Wow.
So a year ago, I had a boyfriend. A year ago, I was married. Now, maybe you're no longer married.
Yeah.
So grief is not just the death of human being. The death of an expectation can hurt so much. So those are
Especially,
the things that, yeah.
yeah, especially if in the previous years you had shared experiences with certain persons and they are no longer in the picture, not by virtue of
Yeah.
death, it could be by virtue of relocation, it could be by virtue of a
Yeah.
strained relationship, it could be for
Yeah.
different reasons. And now you're
Yeah.
here. Sometimes the loneliness from that
Correct.
during the festive
Yes.
period, it could be because a marriage has ended, and I
Yeah.
mean, and they've always spent the festive period together, or
Yeah.
a romantic relationship has ended, and over the past couple of years, they spent the festive season together, but this year is different, and that can
Yeah.
introduce some. The outcome, the aftermath of that could be mental health related, the feeling of
Correct.
loneliness, isolation, sadness, and regret,
Yeah.
which are, which have mental health implications. So I like what you
Correct.
talked about. I like that you identify the fact that grief isn't just the death of a person, it's loss. Its loss is a change in circumstances that was unexpected. It's unmet
Correct. Yeah.
expectations. People can mourn
Yeah.
unmet expectations, and that can color their view and their experiences during the festive period, which can impact negatively on their mental health. Thank you for that. Very, very fundamental point. So, what are the potential mental health benefits of a festive period that people need to like keep in mind? What are the things about the festive period that can positive? We've talked about the possible negative
Mm-hmm.
impact. What are the potentially positive impact of the festive period on mental health?
So I would stress the need to focus on the positivity of the festive period.
Right.
We become what we focus on.
Oh, amazing.
That's just what it is. We become what we focus on. So whatever has your focus, has your energy, has your time, has you in it.
Absolutely.
So it's great to focus on the positivity. If the memories in the past that you have, positive ones, bring them to the present. Reflect on them. They would help.
Yeah.
If you focus on the negativity, you're not going to even do anything for the festive period. But if you focus on, it used to be good,
Hmm.
focus on that. Be mindful of every moment. Every moment counts. And be mindful of the fact that you have the responsibility and an opportunity to recreate or create something better. So you can recreate what you had before, or you can create something new and better. So again, abuse for some, can you make it better for people around you now? It doesn't have to be a cycle of pain. It
Sure.
was painful, it was torture, it was lack. What can you do to make it better? Again, it's just a little that counts. Legacy is not when you're about dying. Legacy is in every moment. What can you do every moment? A tiny drop of water, make it an ocean.
So that,
Few steps, make an inch, make a mile. So whatever you can do would be what I would say. So the positivity, go to the past, find what you can find there. And if you can't, come back to the present to
yeah.
give what you can give. So that's why I was stressing recreation or the power of creation. So, but in your present, you have those tools to do what you need to do. And then you can change, as you're going forward, you can also dream of what the future can be. So the festive period can be a time of joy. Make it count. What do you want it to be for you? Let's even forget maybe for others. For you, it used to be a time of pain. How can you make it a time of gain, a time of joy, a time of fun? Remember, the ball is in your court now.
Exactly.
Remember, you are wearing the boxing glove for you. Somebody else did it anyhow. You can do it in a particular way. What is that how that will mean well to you? How can you give meaning to this season? So is it for some, is it church? For some, is it calling that person, that friend you've been procrastinating? For some, is it watching a movie that you've been dreaming of watching? For some, is it taking yourself out to go, to the movies, to the restaurants? For some, is it, that place I've been meaning to try? For some, is it just at home resting? For some, is it rewriting that goal? It's okay. I saw something on social media last year, which I loved. The person was like, I plan to lose 20 pounds. The person erased the zero, but I lost two. The person said, I plan to have made maybe 1,000, maybe dollars or something. The person canceled 10 and made 100. I just thought that was a profound way to be grateful. It was so profound to me that I still remember it till now.
Yeah.
Because it is the meaning you give that sticks with you. I'll say it again. It's the meaning you give to a situation that affects your thoughts, that affect your feelings, that affect your actions. What meaning would you give your present? What meaning would you give your past? What meaning would you like future to have? So if the meaning is joy at this time, if the meaning is, of course, the season is about our Lord Jesus. People forget. It's not about just gifts. The first reason is Jesus.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm really running around the responsibility. And I'm like, have I even spent time with Jesus? Lord Jesus, thank you for coming. I'm trying to be the Jesus to others. Really? There's one Jesus to all. So I think the first thing first is to also remember the reason for the season, Jesus, and thank him for coming. And if you don't have him, to receive him. If the others don't have him, to share that. But I know Jesus is love to others. So those that don't know Jesus and they have a want, they won't really listen to you.
Yeah.
What is Jesus? Jesus could be bread to somebody else. Jesus could be that warm house to somebody else. Jesus could be a jacket to somebody else. At times we Christians, yeah, but he wants us to show Jesus everywhere we go. That's what he wants. He wants us to be Jesus. He wants us to show Jesus. He wants us to speak Jesus. People are no longer reading Bibles. We are the living Bibles people are reading.
Yeah.
What would you be?
Wow.
So to just stress all of that and summarize what I just said, Dr. Toun, what positivity can you focus on? What positivity can you recreate?
Yeah.
What positivity can you create? Above all, how can we be the Jesus? How can we be his hands and feet? How can we show Jesus that we are celebrating? How can we show him to others in our thoughts, in our words, in our deeds?
Wow,
Thank you.
phenomenal. You know what jumped at me most was the part, what positivity can you focus on? What positivity can you recreate? I'm sorry, my voice is hoarse for some reason. What positivity can you focus on? What positivity can you recreate? What positivity can you create? And not to forget the reason for the season. Phenomenal. Um, how should people who feel like, I mean, let's paint a scenario. There are parents who have certain expectations, particularly during the festive period. But we know that for so many people, I think I wrote about that on my social media handles. A lot of people have gone through financial crunches in the last few months. I
Yeah,
mean, in the UK, they are
yeah,
talking about cost of living expenses, like high cost of living, the cost of living crisis. And we know that in a country like ours, Nigeria as well, there's
yeah,
a lot going on. I mean, I've read and I've heard different people complain about the skyrocketing of cost of goods and services. But there are parents, there are family members who still have expectations from their
yeah,
children and siblings, and some of them may not even understand that their relative is going through financial difficulties. And because people feel, excuse me, a sense of obligation towards their parents, they may begin to feel guilty, begin to feel inadequate about not being able to meet up with those expectations. I know you have touched on some of these things, but I think I would like for you to still speak to this situation because that's a major, we are
yeah,
also approaching the new year. That's often a
yeah,
major source of distress for people. Like, I don't even have enough money. What am I going to give my parents for Christmas? What am I going to give my siblings? What am I going to buy for my children? You hear those kinds of conversations, and it's a major, for some people, it's a source of distress. Please, what practical tips can you share with them so that they don't get into that place where they are tipped into a negative mental state or because
yeah.
of inability to fulfill their obligation during this period?
Yeah, so what I'll say is, I'm really, whoever's listening to me and going through that, I'm really sorry to hear. And I also share your experience
Wow.
because I understand too. Yeah, I share your experience. I understand because, especially because there's an expectation, there's cultural expectation, there's social expectation. There are expectations all around. And sometimes you're able to meet those, sometimes they ask to reduce. So, life is in phases. There is up and down. It's like a roller coaster, up and down. It's like a water wave, up and down. Life also is in phases, up and down. And the best thing you can do, if you can, is to be authentic. Have. There is no point keeping or faking till you make it. No, no. You know what kind of parents you have or what kind of able to be authentic.
Yeah.
We're exempted by the grace of God. But there's a time, remember, there's a time of plenty. Even with Joseph in the Bible, if you remember, they had to save. There is the corn, there's the 7 years of famine, the 7 years of plenty. So there's the need to sit back and understand what you have. What do you have? Like I said before, you can't give what you don't have. And even Jesus said, if you're going to build, won't you count the cost? So there's a need to settle down first. Analyze, what do you have? How much do you have? Yours, your family, what are the priorities?
Right.
Your parents and siblings are up there. So my suggestion is, if it's less than what it was a few years ago, be authentic with them. If you know, be authentic. By God's grace, next year will be better. Right now, this is what I can afford. What you can afford is what you can afford. You won't steal. I mean, how would they be happy if you then call them and tell them, I'm now in jail because I gave you $100,000? That's foolishness. Because at the end of the day, you're the one in jail. They're at home enjoying the money you sent. So at the end of the day, they may not even enjoy it. Now they have to start praying again. Lord, rescue her from jail. So is it really worth it? So there's no point. I hear you. There's that need. Oh, but this is what my parent thinks. Yes. Everybody has a right to their thoughts and their opinion. You have a right to yours. It's not to be rude. It's time to enlighten them. You don't have it. So it's not that, remember, they're two separate things. It's not that you have it that you don't want to give. No, I'm not justifying that. No, I'm justifying you don't actually have it. Remember, write what you have, write your priorities in that order, and figure out how much. A new year is here. Are you going to give that at the end of the day you're on the street? Are you going to give at the end of the day your children don't have? So it's a matter of time. Remember there was is it 5 virgins, wise, and the 5 foolish ones? They meant well. So it's good to just re-strategize and let the person know, set boundaries. Setting boundaries also means financially.
Exactly.
Setting boundaries also means managing expectation. Above all, setting boundaries is self-care so that it doesn't take away from your productivity. Self-care, I say, is any healthy and pleasurable thing or anything healthy that helps you to be productive in fulfilling your purpose and who you are, not meeting expectation of other people. Self-care is not about others, but self-care is about you so you can do more. That's the key. It never stops with you. No, that's selfishness. It's not about me, and mine, and family, and ma. No, it goes around.
Yeah.
That's how we contribute. But the amount doesn't have to be a bank-breaking one. That's what I said. Up and down. It was very up last year. It's not so much, but it's coming back to be up again. So let them know authenticity, vulnerability, honesty. They are very key things to being human.
Yeah.
Do what you can, not do what you will regret. You don't want to do anything at the end of the day. You then begin to manipulate others or feel, or after all I've done for you, after all I gave you, I didn't even have, and I gave you all of my, you chose to give. I say that again. Give with cheerfulness.
Yeah.
Give that you are okay if you don't get back in return.
Yeah. Wow, thank you very much. So, I mean, I like the part where you said be authentic. And authenticity starts with self-honesty. You don't need to keep appearances. It's, you could let them know that, yeah, I would have loved to do more, but considering present circumstances, this is the much I can do. And hopefully in the coming years, we'll be able to do much more. So that authenticity, setting boundaries, managing expectations, and all of these also are evidences of self-care, which is about protecting yourself, your mental well-being, and not trying to keep up appearances and all that. So some people even go into debt. They borrow. That's the bit I struggle with. Why do you need to borrow? But I like how you have highlighted the important things. Thank you very much. The other angle, we're almost an hour. We have 9 minutes. The other angle I wonder about, there are so many activities during the festive period. So many. The ones for children, the carol services in different churches, and even the cooking. That, and I wonder, especially as adults, as parents, as individuals, how much that can lead to burnout. Those activities can lead to burnout. And at the same time, you don't want to miss out on all the fun. So how do we strike the balance between attending these programs, taking our children for the programs, preparing all the meals, and ensuring that we don't exhaust ourselves in the process? What practical tips do you have to share?
So I will say the principles before also apply here. The key, if there are some things to take away from this, it would be the need to know yourself, because you need to know what you have and what you don't have. The need to know, the need to set boundaries. Boundaries are good for you and good for the other person, because boundaries manage expectations. So help people to manage their expectation if you can, for those you can, for those you care about. For some, maybe not. And then set your priorities. So you've set several activities. And at this point, too, I'm going to add substance use disorder. So some people at this point, with all the events, some people are struggling with maintaining their sobriety from that thing. Gluttony, lust, substances, alcohol, drugs, codependency. So maybe you may be trying to win yourself for somebody. So there's so much of addiction that and this time around, aren't you coming here? Take some drink, take some that, take some this, come see this, come see that. Maybe you're even trying to win yourself off of social media or win yourself off of screens. So there's that. There's so many things. Same principle. Where are you? What do you have? What do you need? Set boundaries. This is how much I'll do. So to be practical, there's only so much you can do. And there would always be activities. I think there's the key thing to know that. Activities will not finish on this earth. No. When you think he ends, somebody else thinks of somebody else.
Yeah.
You can tell, even in our conversation, so many topics and different things we're already thinking about for next year.
Yeah.
That's just an example. The mind is moving because something would always come up. So there are many activities. I know there's FOMO, there's fear of missing out. Set your priorities to the important ones. Prioritize. And there are other things. Delegate. If you must go, is there somebody else that can go in your stead? So is there someone that can go in your place? So there's that need to prioritize which ones are my must. While the should, could, can, you can think about it later. But above all, remember, it's about you. You don't want to be burned out, like you said. We get burned out or burnt out. No, we don't want that. Live within your means. If you're going to stretch yourself, do it intentionally. I'll say that again. If you're going to stretch yourself beyond your limits, we grow by stretching, because nothing grows in comfort zone. Yeah. So some people may be like, maybe I will squeeze faith activity. Maybe I'll squeeze that 5,000 naira. If you must squeeze and stretch, do it intentionally. Don't do it out of obligation. Do it like, I'm going to stretch myself, Tiwa. I want to give this. And I'm doing this. Want to please God. And let me stretch myself a little bit. I did this last year. I want to stretch it by another, I went for 4 activities last year. I want to do 5 this year. Make sure it's intentional. If you can, you're aware of the consequences. You have weighed it very well, that you are consenting to the consequences. Because whatever decision you choose, you also choose the consequences. So at this time, for those that are struggling with sobriety of some sort, be aware of let me be the reminder. There's that pressure.
Sure.
Be aware of your strength, of where you are. Is it the right time to tempt yourself? Is this the right time to see if you've been sober for 1 year off of that thing? Is this the time to test the waters? Is it worth it? And are you going to be okay with the consequences? So again, there's no right or wrong. Weigh very well, prioritize, delegate, outsource as much, and be aware. Self-awareness is always good. There are blind spots. We always, self-awareness is till we die. So it's every time that is renewed. So, but yes, weigh that very well. So as much as you can, you are not caught off guard.
Wow, amazing. You know, the part I liked the most was the reminder for those who are struggling with trying to quit or maintain sobriety. I mean, it was even something I didn't think about. But when you mentioned it, I remember that many times in clinic, when I'm seeing patients, and they would often talk about the fact that, oh, it was during Christmas last year that I slipped back, or that I took a lot of alcohol, especially because it's free. And you find people, you know, getting back into habits that they were trying to break free from, especially substance use disorders. So thank you for the reminder. We shouldn't let the fact that we can get a lot of free food, free drinks during the festive period, and because we are celebrating, be the reason why we go back into old habits that we are trying to break. And that's a very important reminder. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, we've got a minute to go. I think I would like to hear your parting words for our viewers today as we enter the week. And the week, I think the week ahead is the week prior to the celebration. So please share your parting words with us. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you again. Really appreciative, Dr. Toun, of this great time with you. Really grateful. And to our listeners and viewers, those that are here and those that will watch later, thank you. Thank you for the gift of your time, the gift of your presence. Remember, I said before, it's not just about money when you're giving. This is support, and we appreciate you. So, again, like I've said before, I will say again, be aware of what you have and what you lack. Focus on what you have to be able to do more. Focus on what you lack to set boundaries. Set healthy boundaries. Do not be threatened by the word boundary. Boundaries can be healthy and can be unhealthy. Choose the healthy ones for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not a universal boundary. It varies. Manage expectations by being authentic with people, being honest. It's not everybody you owe the truth, but the few that you do, let them know. And remember, life is about stages and phases. So be aware of that. Your current situation does not have to determine everything, but be mindful of it. Have your priorities and go in that order of your priorities. If you've been eating turkey every year and this year you're eating chicken, Christmas will still be celebrated. Chicken doesn't make it less of Christmas. It's what you have. No chicken, no meat doesn't make it less of Christmas. It is still the season. Just remember, Life is in stages and phases. Take good care of yourself and choose wisely. Be intentional. You don't have to go back to your old habits to prove to anybody anything. Remember, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to prove to anybody. You're all working towards being a better version of ourselves each day. Above all, remember the reason for the season is about Jesus. How can we be his hands and feet to others? Is not in the amount, is in the heart. God looks at the heart. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, phenomenal, phenomenal. I'd like for our viewers to please just say thank you to Dr. Tiwa. Please just help me thank her by typing in the comment section. Thank you very much. This has been a, a major step in a positive direction. Thank you for the shared vision. Thank you. And I believe that by the help of God, we're going to do greater things together in the new year.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
guys, look out for us. Follow Dr.
Yes.
Tiwa on our Instagram handle. Follow myself because we have a lot of ideas that we are working on to improve mental health awareness and to empower us to live a mentally healthy life in this festive period and beyond. So watch out for us in the new year by God's grace. Thank you, everyone, and have a fabulous Christmas celebration and New Year celebration until we come your way next time. Bye. Thank you, Dr. Tiwa.
Bye. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.